What's up, y'all? Welcome to AOD, where I talk life and relationships. Cause it's an art to this shit, like I always say. Today I got well, it's not really a question, but it's something that I've been paying attention to within the community, within the gay community and the LGBTQ plus community, basically. I want to make it known too that like my channel isn't just yet my channel. Yes, it is primarily for men. It is primarily advocating for men because, in my opinion, there's not enough advocation for men. So primarily, yes, it is for men, but that's not what I want my channel to fully be about. I want my channel to be revolving around human nature and communication, the art of relationships. Give or take. That's basically what I want my content to be about. So with that being said, I have a question that I want to ask my people in the LGBTQ community, and that's, what role are you? Because, and when I say what role, I mean, what role are you in your relationship? This is the thing. In every relationship, there's a dominant and a submissive. In order for a relationship to work, there has to be a dominant and a submissive, primary roles. So, what role are you? This is the question you need to ask yourself. I hear so many people. It seems like it's a reoccurring thing with gay relationships, LGBTQ relationships, where you'll have one person, for example, two guys, right? One wants to be feminine at times, but they don't want to be looked at as a bitch, so they are dominant. They might be dominant when they're out. You know what I'm saying? But then they want to come home and be submissive. But so they're playing both roles. Can't be doing that. It's not gonna work in a relationship with somebody, because how thing is the other person don't know what role you're playing at what time. And then that person might come home trying to be submissive, but this person's trying to be submissive today. That just don't work. So you're gonna have to pick a primary role. If you're a gay person, if you're a lesbian, LGBTQ relationships, you are going to have to pick a primary role. Yes, sit your partner down, talk with them, discuss, hey, what role are you? And you know what's odd is gay dudes don't really do this. But gay women, they do. Lesbian women, they do. You'll notice when they first get together, like you'll notice off rip which one is the more submissive, more feminine type one. You know what I'm saying? She'll be doing this little shit with her hair. She'll be twisting her goddamn hair so much it'll look like my shit. You know what I mean? She'll be doing this, twirling her hair, and just doing things that show womanly attraction. You know what I'm saying? And then you'll have the dominant female. You could tell which one that is because she sits more almost like a guy. You know what I'm saying? Like more dominant. She might be, like this, or not have her legs crossed. Maybe she does have her leg. I've seen plenty of different things, especially living in LA. You see different people. You know what I mean? Very diverse. So the thing is women are good at being able to discuss the roles for the most part. They're pretty good at it. But again, with men, they don't get it. So this is probably gonna really touch gay men, I'm assuming, because y'all are the ones that really can't get it right with the roles. One moment you this, one moment you that. So you gotta sit your partner down and discuss what is our role. Okay? Because it's a conflict at this point. One person trying to be masculine, one person trying to be feminine at a different time. That shit is just that shit will drive somebody crazy. So that's ultimately one of the biggest things with gay relationships yeah, all around, people that they can't figure out what role they want. And this is another thing I want to say too about that. If you're feminine, if you're a feminine gay guy, just be a feminine gay guy. I mean, it's 2022. You don't have to. It's not like 1900 and something. You know what I mean? Like 1940s or some shit. Like when it's not as easily accepted. Like, you know what I mean? It's easily accepted in today's time. You can easily, you know what I mean? Well, maybe not easily, but you can move to places like San Francisco, LA. You can move to bigger cities, New York's and even like Miami and shit like that, Atlanta's and shit. You know what I mean? Like, move to places like that. Be yourself. Be open. You don't have to hide nothing either. And I also understand that some people, they are just like that. Some people are they're masculine, you know what I mean? They're gay, but they're masculine. I get it. But sorry, I think yeah, I just wanted to say that because I've talked to several gay guys and they will say things like, I don't want to be looked at as a bitch, and they'll do things as to where they're worried about being looked at as a bitch instead of just really being themselves. So they'll be feminine when they're talking with their girlfriends or whatever, and then when they talk to me or somebody else, they'll act more like straight, or they'll act more like dominant, you know what I mean? And it's basically so they don't get treated like a bitch or whatever. But I think that that's not a healthy way to live. You know what I'm saying? You should be yourself. You shouldn't have to change around people, so I would keep that in mind too. Another conflict in gay relationships is finding an ideal person, right? Finding an ideal person in the same community that basically is wanting what you want. You might be trying to have a relationship, and then it's hard enough to find somebody in your own community to date, but it's even harder to find somebody that wants a serious relationship. So I'm just gonna say this: you can mess around with people if that's what you want to do, but I would, if you're trying to have it, because I talked to somebody recently that wanted a serious relationship, and he's like, what should I do? Because I want a serious relationship, and this guy seems like he just wants to smash, or you know what I mean? He's not really trying to not trying to be serious. So I told him that he should tell him that, hey, I don't just fuck people I don't just fuck people that I'm not in a relationship with, which makes sense, because that's not what you really should be doing out here, you know what I mean? But to each his own. But I'm just saying. So he was like, oh, okay, that's a good idea. So if maybe that's your issue, maybe you talking to somebody and you don't really know where they stand with you, tell them, hey, I don't want to do nothing intimate until I'm in a relationship. Then there's your answer, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so basically, the key things you should take from this are: pick a role and stick with it as a primary role. I'm not saying you can't switch between from time to time, because honestly, I feel like everybody gets a little in their feelings sometimes. Everybody gets a little feminine. Everybody gets a little dominant at times. I feel like that's just the nature of people to do that at different times. But pick a primary role. Like, my primary role is to be a man. Sometimes I might cry like a bitch if something happens in my life. If it's bad enough, I might. That would be a feminine thing to do, right? Cry. But I'm still man enough to sit here and admit it. You know what I mean? Or not even man enough. I'm just still human enough to sit here and admit it. I don't have shit to hide. I'm not trying to be tough. Date with the purpose of what you want out of a relationship. So basically the same thing I even tell regular daters is don't just be dating people just to be dating them. You should be dating prospect. Like, you should be dating people that you see as potential, I believe it's called prospects, like potential, you know what I mean, like the potential options, like, you know what I'm saying. Like, don't be just dating random ass people just to be dating them. Only date them if you could kind of see yourself with them, you know what I mean. So, because otherwise you just wasting time with random dumbass people. Also, this is another important thing. You must understand what the other person is doing and communicating, because the person could be saying all this shit, but what are they actually doing though? You know what I mean? Like, because and I hate to say this, but dudes do this shit a lot. Dudes be in the ear of other people, and they'll be like, "Hey, you know, I want you, I love you, I care about you, I want to see," all this cap ass shit, really, just to fuck. And it's like, okay, bro, like, you're saying all these lies just to smash. You know, a lot of dudes do this. A lot of dudes do this shit. I'm calling that shit out. You know, and I think it's just weak. Honestly, in my opinion, I think it's just weak when people do that, because it just shows you they don't have any real game. They gotta go to lies to try to get what they want out of somebody. That's not real game. Know what I mean? So understand what the person is doing and communicating. You know, like the person that I was just giving advice to, I'm like, hey, you know, he's like, oh, I'm gonna go sleep with him later or whatever. I'm like, that's your business. I'm like, but hey, just make sure that you know what he's communicating, because you're wanting this relationship, and this guy's basically not trying to do that. So just understand that he's communicating one thing, but he's actually doing another thing. So if, you know, don't get your feelings hurt, basically, is what I told him. Don't get your feelings involved, because you can see what this person is doing. You know, same thing with dudes with girls. Don't get your feelings hurt if this girl ain't really vibing with you. What, you know what I mean? Don't get too into it, you know. So yeah, I think we went over some good stuff. I think I taught you I think I taught somebody here a good lesson, because it's going to be useful to somebody. And I think it's a big argument within the community right now. People argue so much, and honestly, they don't even know what the fuck they arguing about. They getting in all these different arguments. Really, it's because one person is playing a role at this time and one person is playing a role at this time, and they're both trying to be dominant because they don't want to be looked at as a bitch. It's kind of like women. Women will do this too, and I think that's what's going on right now with women and why they're so masculine. I might need to make a video about that too. It's because women, they see it as, oh, I don't want to be submissive, because being submissive makes you look inferior. It makes you look like a bitch. It makes you seem lame, goofy, whatever. And that's not the case. Submissive and dominant are just two separate. They're just two separate people. They're just two separate really choices, because you decide. You know, so it's two different choices, two different people, whatever, however you want to cut it, but at the end of the day, it's different, and you have to decide what role are you going to be, because you could be a man and be submissive, you could be a woman and be masculine, be dominant, and you see it's happening right now. So what are you? What role are you? That's the question. I hope y'all like my content so far. I want people to start commenting, subscribing, follow me on my IG _BillyTheBoy, my new IG. Email me. I will answer any questions for free on YouTube right here. My email is artsofdating@gmail.com. artsofdating@gmail.com. Also, I do paid video sessions, 30 minutes, $100 sessions. So if you have a personal issue that you have going on, usually this is like relationship type deal type people, go ahead and write a summary of what's going on. You like no more than 2 paragraphs of what's going on and what you want to discuss in your specific situation, and I'll go ahead and get back to that. I appreciate all the support and all the love. Thank y'all. You'll stay up.